Hey there, it's Rusty Nelson, your college art professor, and it's drawing day, and we are drawing faces again. I'm on a theme. So I did get some questions concerning drawing faces with the Loomis method. Had a very frustrated comment from a viewer talking about Loomis and how to determine what that initial circle is. And he said nobody ever covers that. It just is like a given for whoever's doing the tutorial. They just draw that circle and nobody ever explains why. So hopefully I'll do that in this video. And then I also had another comment concerning, I've had a lot of pro Loomis comments and a lot of people who are really kind of down on it as well. They're not real happy with the Loomis. And one comment in particular stated, and I've heard this before, that Loomis tends to be a little too mechanical and the faces have really no life to them when you're using it. So, but the intent and the purpose of why you want to learn how to draw with Loomis is it's going to help you get your positions, the head positions. If you're not drawing just a straight on view or a profile view, it'll help you figure out the 3/4 views up and down and things like that. So you do have to practice and learn the Loomis. And then I also work with Reilly. I don't necessarily dedicate myself to just one method and process. And actually one of my favorite ways of drawing faces is the shape and silhouette method, where there's really no Loomis structure underneath it all. So you just have to get a general shape of the head and the basic lights and darks kind of blocked in with shapes before you start working in the detail. Let's take a look real quick and we'll kind of dissect Loomis a bit and we'll work a little Reilly on top of it. So I'm covering all the bases today. So stay tuned, watch to the end, and hopefully you'll learn something about what you're doing when you're drawing faces. So let's get started. All right, so here are 3 sketches I made using the Loomis method, and just probably a smidge of Reilly method in there too. So, and you can see the Loomis method is really all about kind of the skull, and you can definitely use and see, especially when it comes to that basic circle right here. That basic circle right there covers everything, and it depends upon I've seen it done both ways. That circle comes right along the cheekbone and then crosses over. And if you're really following that cheekbone, that blue line, that circle, will come right in around here, either along the tooth line or right in between the nose, where the nose and the upper and lower lip meet. So, but there is your side, your circle. So there is your circle. And then lobbing off that side. That's kind of an extreme lob off right there, but you can see definitely with skulls that you have this angle to the lobbing it off. And I drew it a little bit of kind of whopper jawed there on the page. All right, so essentially the answer to the question of how big to make that initial circle, what are the big decisions an artist has to make as to when you want to, or how big to make that jumping off circle, because everything keys off the scale and the size of that circle. And it's just a simple matter of, are you doing a quick sketch? You want to do a small circle, right? So you don't have to work in all the detail that a large circle, a large face is going to have, right? So you want to get something very small, just to quickly sketch out a face, get a position, get the angles, get the shapes of the noses and everything just right. So let's give that a quick look here. So yeah, you can have a small circle for a small sketch, get your Loomis head in there, get that eye line, get everything kind of flowing, pull that jaw in, and there you go. You've already kind of worked in some of the fundamentals of what you need to do for a quick sketch using Loomis. And I'm not spending a lot of time getting everything just precise. So the ear comes in right in through here, right? So you get the Asario kind of shape there. You can break it down into cubes. You get your nose is going to happen there. Your mouth's going to happen right there, right? So you're really building everything let's see here, to come down, will come out. There we go. There we go, and then the chin right there. So we quickly, using the Loomis method, constructed that head, and everything's roughly in position. So that's great for a real quick sketch like that. You want a little more detail, you make that circle bigger, and you're going to have a lot more work to do with it. Throw in the plumb line, right, center of the circle. You come over here, get the brow line, and then lob off that side, right, like that. Okay, and you start breaking it. All right, so there we go. There's our nose. Where's the nose? We got the mouth. We got the chin, and then also breaking the circle essentially into thirds, going this way like that, and that'll give you roughly position of the mouth like that. All right, so that is essentially working with, and I'm exaggerating the shape of the head now. All right, so real fast sketching. If I'm going to draw a picture of a person, this I do not spend a lot of time on. All right, so, and then key points on the face is getting that angle right here and then getting the mask in here. All right, and eye line's going to be, that's your brow line essentially right there. And there's actually, Reilly method will give you a way to figure that out, where I think with Loomis, you're kind of guessing. All right, so we'll just get in here, and that's fine. Your guessing abilities will get better the more you practice your guessing abilities, right? So it becomes a definite learned skill, muscle memory and stuff. So you drop your eyes in there, right there on that third, right like that. So, and then your pupils. All right. So the last time I did this, everybody thought it looked like 3-CPO, right? So, and then you can drop in nostrils and all those things you can start using in here to draw your faces. Now I've seen like how to draw the lips. You put a couple of circles there and a big circle there, and then you kind of use it. Those are your guides. So essentially this is Loomis kind of blocked in. That gives you the basic structure of the face. This is much bigger, so you're going to have a lot more room to work in detail and everything. So just remember, scale is going to be determining, the reason your circle is whatever size it is, that initial thing. If you're doing a quick little sketch, you don't need a lot of detail. You just need to figure out angles and this and that, or positioning. Use a small circle, right? Just do a small, quick little circle and do that quick sketch. And then if you want to do the bigger detail, a lot more modeling and detail on eyes, nose, and mouth and everything, you need a bigger circle, because everything keys off of that initial circle using Loomis method. So let's get back. I'm going to work a little Reilly method on top of that Loomis. Again, all of these things you're doing just to kind of embed this information into your head. And over time, if you draw these enough, you're not going to have to even draw these on the paper. These are all going to be kind of ingrained in your head all by itself. All right, so right through here, here's your eye line, and you can come in and essentially build an arc from this point over like that. And a lot of times it'll interact with that forehead rhythm right there on that. So you can come in and build that mask right there. All right, again, I always try to get that little shape right there. It's pronounced, and then there's a break point about right there. And if you look at this sketch of the skull, you can see that's where the bone stops and the cartilage begins, and you get the big hole for the nose right there. So that break point right there, and you can kind of break it out like this. I like putting this little shape right there on the underneath side of the nose, and then you have that circle right there. All right, so you can definitely come around and get the Reilly method right there going. It gives you the side plane of the nose. right there. All right, so you get the bridge and then the sides right there. And you can definitely put those nostrils right within that. You get the little shape under the nose, and we're going to come in and we're going to draw that shape. Now I've seen this shape come in. It either comes in underneath for the lower lip, or I've seen it come down and connect with the chin. So you can try either way. So Reilly Rhythm right there. That's for the actually, I've even seen it. It comes out. This is really important on older people. You're going to see that pronounced on older people. All right, and you got the rhythm right there for the chin. All right, we're going to get the rhythm right here off of the top of the nose ellipse. Will come in right here, and it comes down along there. So that actually needs, I'm going to pull that out a little further. There we go. All right, so you can play around with this. These are kind of fun, just to do these abstractions. All right, so there's the eye. We got that. We have right off of the that center portion of the lob off on the Reilly. You can come in and bring that in right along where the mouth line is, right there. Right. So bring it right back up here like that, and from right that point as well, you get the side of the cranium. You can see that little spot right in through here comes in. This is all that side plane, your temple area right there. So cool. We get that. We get that. We also have, you have that ellipse right along in here. All right. And there's even that little poofy thing right here. And that chin could be even a little more rounded like that. So there you go. You do have, oh, and I also work in a bit of the Asaro right here along this, where the eyes, that eye line right there, this shape right here, right there. That's all that portion going back the opposite direction, deeper than it will kind of help you define everything that you're going to be doing. Let's get that lip. We drew those little circles right there. Right here, I'll switch over. We can start doing some of the detail now. All right, so we'll come in, we'll get the upper and lower lip separation going on there, and then we can draw and drop in the upper lip. We can throw in here the lower lip, right? And this, I think, what I'm doing right now is definitely playing into a comment that a viewer made about it. You know, a lot of times when they draw faces using Loomis and things like that, they feel lifeless, right? And yeah, I can see that. There's also a little heart shape right here on the lip, right there, like that. All right, so now you have all the guides necessary if you're going to start drawing your face, right? That circle came right across through here, and you can see there's where your cheekbone is, right there as well. So, all right, so now you can really kind of come in and start working with things. Comes in, comes up, right, and around. There we go. You can definitely use those rhythms to help construct the face. So it just takes practice and working with your modeling to get everything to start reading correctly. So you can definitely see, like with the chin, depending on your light source, you can use those things to kind of work around. You got your depending on age of your person, whether or not they have a distinct fold right there. You got direction changes right there you can work with. Up here, you can see the side of the nose. You probably have a nice direction and shading change right there. And you got that nice brow line, and your brows follow along right up here like that. All right, you can throw that That eye comes around, upper lip or upper eyelid right there. Get that. Like that. Throw the eye in there. There we go. And then you got the upper eyelid, depends on type of person. There we go. Get the eye. Eyes are the fun part. You know, I normally slap them in there, but they really are the thing you got to work with real carefully so that they do feel like there's life in them, right? So you're starting to get your shading. You might even have a nice one there. You got the, you know, the shape, the bag under the eye follows the eyelid or the eyeball. You know, that little bag is the lower portion of the sphere that you drew for the eye. So you can definitely see this is a kind of a static looking guy. I'm doing this from memory. There's no reference I'm using at this point. And you can really practice just constructing faces using this method. All right. But ultimately, it's just a tool to kind of train you on what the different facial features are, where they go. Oops, a little low. Practicing your symmetry and all of that. So we'll just keep going. All right, so once you get that, who's this guy look like? Last time I did this, everybody said it looked like I was drawing myself, and I could be. That is not an uncommon thing. You're just unconsciously drawing your own portrait when you do these things, all right? All right, so there it is. There's the Loomis method, layering in some Reilly method on top of it with just a smidge of Asaro. So yeah, don't think you have to be dedicated to just one method, one process. Use whatever process is most useful. And the thing I keep finding most useful and that I get the best results with making the faces look lifelike, where I agree Loomis can definitely, I think, give you kind of some sterile looking faces. I think in my original thing, I drew like some ugly ass people, and yeah, they are. And I think that guy I just drew right there on top of Loomis was pretty, yeah, it's pretty janky. But it does give you the knowledge for recognizing and seeing faces when you're working with references and stuff like that. You can definitely see where those rhythm lines and everything fall. So give this a try, see how it works out, and practice. It really is about practicing these things and getting them going and getting them ingrained in your head so that you don't have to draw every Loomis guideline and every Reilly guideline. You will just automatically see it and be able to translate it into tone and modeling on your drawing. So, hey, I hope this little demo was helpful. If it was, give me a like and a subscribe. Drop me some more comments because I do like drawing these faces. I've been practicing them the last few weeks. So drop me those comments and we'll see if we can do some more tutorials on that. And if you like what I'm doing on this channel, please head over to my Patreon channel and consider giving me a $5 a month membership. It really does help. If you need supplies and resources, head over to the video description. There's links in there for resources on my website to download, and there's affiliate links as well. Click on that, go to Amazon, buy some stuff, and I'll get a small commission. So thank you for supporting this channel. I hope you got something out of this, and I'll see you in the next demo.